In the article, If Shaming Reduced Obesity, There Would Be No Fat People, a survey was given to 47 patients who all lost over 100 pounds after having gastric bypass surgery, asking them to choose between different negative scenarios happening to them or gaining their weight back. The survey found that he or she would rather be deaf, blind, have heart disease, or lose a leg than gain back the weight. All would give up being a multimillionaire to be a normal weight. So let's think about this for a minute. This survey is telling us that people would rather lose a body limb than gain back their weight. And I bet that most of us have dreamed of becoming a multimillionaire at least once in our lives. So why is it that people would rather give up their limbs, body function, and financial stability just for their body to be a certain weight? Today, we will consider multiple arguments surrounding obesity. No matter how you view obesity, the controversy surrounding it causes harm because it shames those who are obese, and it instills fear of becoming obese into those who are not. First, we will look at the different arguments concerning who should be blamed for obesity. Next, we will look at the different solutions proposed for obesity, and finally, we will analyze the impacts that these conversations have on people. According to the Southern Communication Journal, on March 9, 2004, the CDC found obesity to take the place as America's #1 killer over smoking. When a report like this is released, huge arguments spring up about whose fault it is and what as a nation we're going to do about it. The first argument we'll look at is that obesity is an epidemic and is the fault of the individual. However, within this argument are many sub-arguments, so the first sub-argument we're going to look at today is this. Obesity is due to an individual's lack of knowledge. According to the Hastings Center report, writer Daniel Callahan claimed that many people don't even know they're overweight or obese, or they don't understand the risks and repercussions of obesity, so they don't try to combat it. Callahan's article goes on to suggest that obesity is due to a person being lazy, self-indulgent, lacking in discipline, awkward, unattractive, weak-willed and sloppy, insecure and shapeless. You may have seen the YouTube video, Dear Fat People, released by comedian Nicolearbour in September of 2015. Here are a few clips from the video explaining why it's okay to not accept those who are obese.
Amen. Dear fat people, fat shaming is not a thing. Fat people made that up.
Yeah, but I couldn't fit into a store. That's discrimination.
No. That means you're too fat and you should stop eating. They complain and they smell like sausages, and I don't even think they ate sausages. That's just their aroma. Fat shaming. Who came up with that? That's fucking brilliant. Yes, shame people who have bad habits until they fucking stop. Fat shaming. If we offend you so much that you lose weight, I'm okay with that.
Overall, these arguments around obesity that fault the individual chalk the problem up as something that can be consciously controlled. The Guardian summed up this argument like this: skin, ethnicity, height, gender, etc. isn't something they can help, but that's not the case with weight. So what do these people think we should do to solve obesity? Callahan and Arbour believe that it is time we stop allowing obesity to be socially acceptable. People that are obese need to make changes in their lives to lose weight, including changes in their work, eating, and physical activity. Callahan even suggests putting a tax on those who are obese and overweight, making it more expensive for them than those at a healthy weight. It worked for smoking, so shouldn't it work for obesity? However, not everyone believes that obesity is the fault of the individual. A response was provided to Arbour's video encouraging fat shaming by Stephen Williams or Boogie2988.
If you are 50 or more pounds overweight, you are absolutely damaging your body. Because I have never met a fat person that did not already have that pounded into their brain. They're always targeted towards some non-existent person, this magical unicorn of a person who has no problems in her head or her heart or outside life that are leading to these issues. Her only problem is she just likes cheeseburgers and Starbucks too much. Fat shaming does exactly what you would expect. It's in the title. It makes someone feel ashamed. It makes them feel bad about themselves. It makes them feel disgusted about themselves. It makes them hate themselves.
Williams points out that people are aware that they're obese, and the issue is more complicated than just physical activity and eating. It's about your mental status, your self-esteem, and fat shaming is incredibly harmful to those that it targets. Now that we've seen that it's probably more complicated than just the individual, then who needs to take responsibility for obesity? Many people would argue that it's the food industry that needs to be blamed for obesity. According to the Southern Communication Journal, the food industry purposefully downplays the obesity crisis and moves the blame from themselves to individuals via fat shaming. An advocacy group known as the Center for Consumer Freedom, or the CFC, has been created to protect the food industry, the alcohol industry, and tobacco industry from being bashed by blasting the media with negative images, games, and ads that blame others for things like cancer and obesity instead of these industries. Images called spectacular decapitations are used to promote individual blame on obesity. These images consist of a bare stomach of someone who is obese, without a head, depicting the headless obese body as a passive body reduced to its corpulent parts, according to the Southern Communication Journal. Not including the head makes it harder for a person to connect to this image and easier for them to judge it. The group of people blaming the food industry for obesity would like to solve the problem by having the government place higher restrictions and regulations on the food industry because they see it as a social issue in need of large-scale public health interventions. Now that we have looked at multiple facets of the obesity issue, it's important to think about this. The people who blame the individual end up publicly shaming those who are obese. The people who believe it's the food industry's fault cause an uprise in the food industry to keep the conversation focused on fat shaming. Because of this, people are afraid to be fat, and those who already are constantly being shamed. No matter who is to blame for the obesity epidemic, engaging in the conversation at all has an emotional impact on all who are listening. The way we view obesity is affecting body image and the relationship that we have between us and our bodies. People are willing to lose money and limbs so that they can stop being shamed. People are people, and they need to be treated like people.